One second you are standing guard outside the Senate in Rome. The next second you are standing on a very green lawn, looking at a very white building with columns. You know, columns. Rome invented columns. Whoever built this building clearly studied under a Roman because those are good columns, solid, symmetrical. You would not be embarrassed to stand guard in front of them. This is the first thing in this strange new world that has not insulted you. Then you notice the fence, and the men in dark clothing standing very still with small black rectangles in their ears whispering to themselves, and the signs that say, restricted area which you cannot read but whose energy you understand completely. You are a Roman soldier. You have guarded the most important men in the world. You recognize other guards when you see them. These are guards, nervous guards, guards who have noticed you. You decide to introduce yourself like a civilized person. You draw your gladius to salute. This was a mistake. Part 1. The Gate. 6 men appear from nowhere. This is impressive. You did not see them arrive. In your 15 years of service, you have never been surrounded so quickly by men who move so quietly. You would recruit every single one of them on the spot. They would make excellent legionaries. They are shouting. You do not understand the words, but the tone is the universal tone of guards who want you to put the weapon down. You put the gladius away, slowly, with dignity, the way a soldier surrenders a weapon to fellow professionals, not because he is afraid, but because he respects the situation. The men do not seem to appreciate the dignity. One of them speaks into his wrist. You find this concerning. A man who speaks into his own wrist is either mad or a sorcerer, and in this strange world, you have learned it is usually the second one. They wave a small black wand over your body. It makes an alarmed sound near your armor. It makes a more alarmed sound near your gladius. It makes its most alarmed sound of all near the small dagger you keep in your boot, which you had forgotten about, and which does not improve the situation. They find the dagger. They find the gladius. They find a second smaller dagger you also forgot about. They find a piece of dried meat you were saving. They take everything except the dried meat. You are allowed to keep the dried meat. This is the only victory of the morning. Part 2. The Protocol. A woman in a sharp grey outfit arrives with a small glowing rectangle and many questions. She wants to know your name. You tell her your full name, your rank, your legion, the name of your commanding officer, the name of his commanding officer, and the names of your father and grandfather, because that is how a Roman introduces himself properly. She types for a very long time. She wants to know the purpose of your visit. You tell her you are here to pay respects to the leader of this land, soldier to leader, as is proper, when a soldier finds himself in a foreign territory. This is diplomacy. You know diplomacy. Rome practically invented diplomacy. Rome invented it and then ignored it and then conquered you anyway. But the inventing part counts. She asks if you have an appointment. You do not know what an appointment is. You tell her a Roman soldier does not need an appointment. A Roman soldier is the appointment. She types for an even longer time. Eventually, a decision is made somewhere above her by someone you cannot see, which you respect because that is also how Rome worked. Decisions always came from somewhere above you by someone you could not see. It is comforting to know some things are universal. They decide to let you in. You suspect they are letting you in mostly because nobody has any idea what else to do with you. This is also how Rome worked. Part 3. The Halls. The inside of the white building is full of paintings of serious men. You approve of this immediately. Rome was also full of paintings and statues of serious men. A civilization that does not display its serious men on every available wall is a civilization that has forgotten where it came from. These people remember. Good. You stop at every painting and salute. This takes a while. There are many serious men. Your escort, 2 of the quiet guards and the woman in grey, become increasingly impatient as you salute the 7th, 8th, 9th serious painted man. You explain to them that it is disrespectful to walk past a leader without acknowledgement. They explain that some of these men have been dead for a long time. You explain that in Rome, we acknowledge the dead leaders more, not less, and that their entire civilization is built on the bones of men who came before, and that a soldier who forgets this is not a soldier, but a tourist. The woman in grey writes something down. You suspect it was not a compliment, but you stand by the point. Part 4. The Gift. You realize you have arrived empty-handed. This is a catastrophe. You cannot meet a leader without a gift. A soldier who arrives without tribute is announcing that he expects to take rather than give, which is how wars start, and you are not here to start a war. Probably. You search your person. You have the piece of dried meat, a single coin with an emperor's face on it, a small carved figure of a wolf your daughter made you, and a button that came off your armor that you have been meaning to fix. You cannot give away the carving. That is sacred. You cannot give away the coin. That is the emperor. And giving away the emperor's face feels treasonous even here. Even now, even when the emperor has been dead for what these people insist is a very long time. You consider the button. You decide on the dried meat. It is the finest dried meat in your cohort. Men have fought over this dried meat. To give it to a foreign leader is the highest honor you can offer. You present the dried meat to the woman in grey with both hands and great ceremony. She does not take it. She explains there are rules about gifts. You explain there are also rules about gifts in Rome, mainly that you accept them or you insult the giver, and that you are now slightly insulted, but that you will allow it because she seems nice and clearly does not know any better. You put the dried meat back in your pouch. The leader will simply have to go without. His loss. Part 5. The Office. They bring you to a round room. You appreciate the round room. Round rooms are good for defense. No corners for an enemy to hide in. Whoever designed this room understood something about safety, which makes you trust the man who works in it slightly more than you trusted him 30 seconds ago. There is a large desk. Behind the desk is the leader. He looks like a leader, tired around the eyes the way all leaders look tired, because leading is exhausting and anyone who looks well rested is not actually in charge of anything. You knew a general with eyes like that. He died comfortable in his bed, which for a Roman general is practically a miracle. You salute, properly this time, fist to chest, the salute you give to men who have earned it, not the casual salute you give to officers you do not respect. The leader nods at you. He seems unsure what to do. This is fair. You are also unsure what to do. Neither of you speaks the other's language, and there is a man in the corner trying to translate and visibly failing because nobody taught him Latin, which is an oversight in his education that is not his fault. You decide to communicate the way soldiers always have. You walk to the desk. You extend your arm to clasp his, warrior to warrior. He extends his hand. You clasp it. You may have clasped it slightly too hard. You row, you march. You carry a shield all day. Your grip is not designed for delicate civilian hands. The leader makes a small sound. You release immediately and step back and offer the universal apologetic gesture of a man who has accidentally crushed someone he respects. He shakes his hand out and laughs, a real laugh, the first real thing that has happened all day. You decide you like this leader. Part 6. The Meeting. You try to give him advice. You cannot help it. You have guarded the Senate for 15 years. You have seen how power works, how it rots, how good men go bad and bad men go worse. And you have opinions, and a leader who does not seek the counsel of his soldiers is a leader who will one day be surprised by his soldiers. You cannot speak his language, so you communicate through gesture and intensity. You point at him. You point at the painting of a serious dead leader on the wall. You make the gesture of a crown. You make the gesture of a falling crown. You draw a line across your throat. The room becomes very tense. You realize this may have looked like a threat. You quickly make the gesture for no. No, this is history. This is a lesson. This is what happens to leaders who do not listen. And you point at yourself at your own loyal soldier heart, and you put your hand over it. The leader watches all of this very carefully. Then he nods, slowly, like a man who has just been given advice he did not expect from a source he did not expect it from and has decided, against all reason, to take it seriously. Maybe he understood. Maybe he did not. But a soldier does his duty. You have given counsel to your leader. What he does with it is between him and the gods. Closing. They walk you back out across the green lawn. The quiet guards are more relaxed now. One of them returns your gladius, your 2 daggers, and your armor button, which you did not expect and which moves you more than you will admit. A guard who returns another guard's weapons is a guard who has decided you are not a threat. This is the highest trust one soldier can show another. You nod at him, he nods at you. The woman in grey says something that sounds like a farewell. You stop at the white building with the good columns one last time. In Rome you guarded the Senate. You watched senators lie and scheme and betray and occasionally, rarely, do something genuinely good for the people they served. You watch the whole machine of power turn and grind and continue. Century after century, no matter who sat at the top, this place is the same machine. Different building, different language, different serious men in different paintings, but the same tired leader behind the same heavy desk, trying to hold the same impossible thing together for a little while longer before handing it to the next person. You understand this place. You salute the columns one final time. Rome fell. This place will fall too, one day, the way all of them do, but not today. Today the columns still stand. And that is enough for a soldier.